So, like you'll hear a lot of coaches talk about the tools, right? Obviously, we want to know that you're a good baseball player. You move well, you run well, you hit the ball, you hit with a little bit of power. But the thing is, these days, there's a lot of good baseball players. Everybody can kind of catch, everybody can hit, everybody can throw at a somewhat decent level, especially at these showcases. So, I really like to look for the intangibles. You know, who's not standing in a group of guys talking, who's taking this time very, very seriously, who's sprinting out to their position, who's sprinting off the field, who's communicating with other players properly, you know, cheering them on, communicating with the pitcher, hyping them up, being a good teammate. Those are things that are rare in today's game, and those are things that I really like to look for so we can implement them at Wagner College. Those are things a coach should not have to teach. We're here to teach you how to play baseball, how to be a leader, and how to get through your college courses. Those are things, attitude, effort, leadership, those are things that you guys need to bring yourself, and that's what we like to recruit for and stands out a lot at these showcase events.
Okay, red flags. What's a red flag in a player?
I would say red flags is definitely when they're distracted. You know, you have 2 hours to show us what you got. You have the rest of the summer to work, to hang out with your friends and to goof around. And obviously baseball's a fun sport. You want to enjoy yourself, but you need to take this time seriously, be locked into what you're doing. I don't like when kids are standing around talking to their friends. Especially, we look for kids who can control their temperament. You know, in baseball you're going to fail a lot, so how do they deal with that? We don't like seeing these kinds of events, kids who get real down on themselves real fast, maybe have an outburst of anger, get real emotional and don't have a grip on their emotions. We like guys who we know can control those emotions that come with baseball, maybe at a higher level than others can, and can really just control that mental game, because that's something that's going to play at our level.
Do you look at analytics, and how does that play for high school players looking to go to college?
Analytics are important. You know, there's a lot of information out there, and you need to know how to read it. Definitely use it to make yourself a better baseball player. We use a phrase a lot at Wagner College is self-taught. You need to be your own coach. So definitely you need to get to a point as a player where you're not relying on information, not relying on computers, you're not relying on hidden gurus or coaches to teach you how to play the game. I think that's something a lot of kids are missing these days is that internal baseball IQ, that feel for the game, because there's such a reliance on that information. So you definitely need to use it. It's there for a reason, and it can make you a lot better. But you also need to know how to sort through what's important, what's not important, and know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And then at the end of the day, you know how your body feels. We always say to our hitters, if it feels good, it probably looks good, and it's probably going to work. So don't rely on the computer or blast motion, for example, to completely tell you how to swing. Do what feels comfortable, be an athlete, and use that information to make small tweaks when you see necessary in the data.
Okay, and advice for these kids here today in terms of if they have their hopes pegged on D1, should they be open to looking at kind of all possibilities going to college?
Yeah, I think it's very, very good to set your sights high, right? If you want to play somewhere good, but something I always say to kids is, do your actions match your goals, right? Like if you never told me what your goals are, I would know based on the way you live your life, based on your work ethic. So be realistic with yourself and the goals you set based on how much time you know you're putting in. Another thing I tell kids a lot is that there's 300 Division I schools, there's over 300 Division II schools, and there's even more than that at the Division III level. So I strongly believe that there's a school out there for anybody who's willing to put in the work. That's over 1,000 Division I schools. That's not to mention NAIA or the junior college route. So there's a school out there for you. And the last thing I'll leave them with is recruiting process is a proactive process. It's not a reactive process. You have to be proactive in seeking out schools, going to events, you're training, getting better. So when you go to these events, you have something that coaches want to see. If you just sit around and wait for coaches to find you, you're going to get passed by, especially in today's day and age. So proactive, send emails to schools you want to play at, go to events and get your name out there so coaches can come find you.